Kablamo! Where am I? I'm in an underground bunker, because the bombs are about to drop. What is the thumbnail for the new facts and glitches? New guy, Emerald, had some interesting additions to the episode. This thumbnail here has got the 5 guys behind Amanda, and so it's from a particular scene. I actually clicked to it immediately. So in this scene, we're talking about all the people Amanda slept with, and the original cut of this, Amanda wasn't wearing pants. Or rather, there was just a full upskirt. She was wearing panties and you could see, and I'm like, yeah, you might want to put her in clothes, my guy. Like, it's a bit much. I get the meme. I get what you're going for. And technically there is no nudity there, but let's dial that back one step. I can't remember the other example of that, but yeah, it was funny. And this one as well was really funny. The Space Docker, which is the reward for collecting all 50 spaceship parts, is actually meant to be a subtle reference to space docking, but I recommend not looking up what sexual act that refers to. And so many people looked it up, and they were like, oh no, why did I do that? Why did I not listen? People do that? No. Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. Let's just say it involves shit, okay? Any sexual act that involves shit is not something you want to look into. I got an interesting message from longtime viewer Mystery Biscuits yesterday. And it was just this video by Michael Stevens, Professor Hannah Fry have a podcast together called The Rest is Science. Recently, they did an episode about the Watson selection task, but towards the end, they talked a little bit about the difficulties of convincing people of truth, and it reminded me of the rambles you've done on that topic. And so I watched this video, this podcast, and I got to the 53-minute mark, and I was like, it's the book. Long-time ramble viewers, or long-time stream viewers, will be like, The Righteous Mind? Why do I know that name? This is the book that I read in 2019 or something, that I would bring up in every goddamn discussion. It was just so The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion by Jonathan Haidt. I think he pronounced his name a little bit different, but I'm pretty sure it's Haidt. It's basically a book that talks about our reasoning in regards to morals and politics and stuff, and how we don't really have actual reasons for why we have the kind of feelings of revulsion and rejection of particular behaviors in society. We kind of have the feelings and then just try to invent justifications for our feelings on the matter. And there's a lot of really salacious, really taboo kind of examples that he gives, where he will, why is this bad? And they'll explain. He goes, okay, well, here's that scenario where that isn't a factor. And so he would just keep slightly changing the scenario where the bad thing is still there, but the objections are no longer relevant. And the person will eventually get to the end and go, well, I don't know why it's bad, but it is still bad. They have no reasons left, but it's still bad. I can't tell you why, but it is. And it's very interesting. They give one example from the book in this video, which is a family's pet dog is run over in front of their house, and so it's dead. Died in a complete accident. The family decides to eat the dog. They collectively decide that this is something they want to do. And so their father, who is a professional chef, takes the dog, cooks it, and then they eat it. No one sees this. No one knows about it. It's just the family who knows. They're the only people who ever find out. They're happy with this decision. They feel closer to their pet and think this is totally great. And they don't get sick. There's no illness. There's no nothing like that. And you hear this and people still be like, that still seems wrong to me. But that's constructed in a way that a lot of the objections, oh, it might inspire that similar behavior for other people, or it might cause some illness, or just random people shouldn't be cooking animals they're not familiar with because he's a professional chef or whatever. Oh, they killed their dog, but no, they didn't kill the dog. It was an accident. So all the objections you might have to the very basic scenario are removed. And some people still go, yeah, but they shouldn't do that. And it's the least taboo example that's from the book, right? It's very interesting. One other thing they did in this that I thought was interesting. This is a test that a psychologist developed. Can't remember his name, whatever. Watch the video. But basically, you're given 4 tiles: A, G, 7, and 8. And on one side, there's a letter. On the other side, there's a number. So A, a number, G, a number, 7, a letter, 8, a letter, right? So there's one letter, one number, right? The question is, how many do you need to flip over to confirm the rule that there is always a 7 if there is an A? So if there is an A, there is a 7. So remember, it's letter, number, letter, number, letter, number, letter. So each card has a letter and number. So if there is an A, there is a 7 on the other side. You have to confirm that rule. And so one of the things that normally in the test you aren't told, oh, this is a difficult psychological problem that people get tripped up on. But so no one's got it right in chat thus far. Apparently, in the original test, only 10% of people got it right. in the follow-up, in replications of this test, only 4% of people get it right. And there are only 2 reasons why I got it right. One, it was because Michael said, this is a difficult thing that you really need to think about. And 2, I decided to write out my reasoning to Mystery Biscuits in the chat. I paused the video and said, this is why I think this is correct. And while writing my answer, I was like, no, actually, I'm wrong about one of these tiles. And so I changed my answer. So what this test is meant to teach you is that we seek things that will confirm things less than try to find counterexamples. So basically, if you find something that follows a rule, it doesn't tell you if that rule is universal. But if you find one counterexample, it shows that it's not universal. So when you look at these, you have to think, if I flip this, is it possible for me to receive a counterexample? So with A, well, you have to flip it, because if there's not a 7 on the other side, the rule's broken. With the G, well, if there's a G on one side and any number on the other side, let's say a 7, who cares? It just says if there's an A, there is a 7. So G doesn't matter. It can be a 7, it could be literally any number in existence. It will not conflict with the rule, so you don't need to flip G. 7 is where I stumbled, because even just immediately I knew I had to think of counterexamples, but even I wanted to flip 7 because it is just intuitive for humans to want to find things that conform to what we believe or what we're searching for, whatever. So you think, oh, I got to flip 7. I need to confirm that there's an A on the other side. But no, because if there's an A on the other side, that doesn't confirm that the rule is universal. You've just found one more example of the rule. There could be 999 times that there's an A and a 7, but if there's one time where there's an A and a 6, there's done. So it doesn't matter how many 7s you flip over and find A, it doesn't tell you if the rule is universal. So there's no reason to flip this. 8, of course, you have to flip, because if there's an A on the other side, then that confirms that the rule is false. So it's just these 2, A and 8. And so while writing it out, I realized I was wrong about 7. And I thought that was very fascinating. The video was largely about that, where what was an example like a...
I was editing exactly what you were talking about, where people will be extremely stubborn and not change their mind on a topic even if they are shown why what they think is wrong, and they will eventually just go to where they just feel it. It is interesting because there are an extreme amount of people like this in life. It is so hard to change anyone from what they believe even if an overwhelming majority disagree with them, and we see this type of behavior when you talk about React content.
Yeah. Like, as you guys know, I've done a psych degree, and one of the things that the course kind of reinforced in me, which I kind of already believed, is that I don't want to be in a position to have to convince anyone of anything. Human beings aren't really, and me included, like everyone, right? We aren't geared to having our minds changed, and it changes, like it's just an uphill battle. And it's incredibly frustrating. And like, I've had the benefit of both doing a degree and spending a significant amount of my time thinking about reasoning, logic, and consuming content on that for like a decade, really. And so when I try to convince normal people, I hate that I'm describing myself I'm a person with weird interests, right? When I was younger, when I try to talk to people who haven't gone through this, I become quite frustrated. In every interaction I've had with, say, drama YouTubers, they are just so unbelievably dumb to me. It just frustrates me on no end. I have at times concluded that people have been malicious because I can't conceive of how they could be so bad at reasoning that they could have reached the conclusions that they had. And then later on found out, no, they are just that bad. They are just that dumb. And I find the whole process frustrating, and I just, screw it, you know. But regardless, yeah, watch this video. It's very interesting. The video is called The Reasoning Test Psychologists Still Can't Explain, from the Rest is Science podcast. It's a very interesting feeling, chat, where you see a group of people, potentially hundreds of people, all entirely wrong about something. Not on the basis of like missing some facts, but just failing in basic reasoning and knowing for a fact that you can explain it to them in a way that could not be objected to, and just knowing it's not worth the time. It's just like, it feels so wrong, you know? Someone asked why I'm not doing GTA San Andreas today. Yesterday, I played chess way too long, and I played Noita as well, but I finished Noita Nightmare, and the final game of chess that I did was awesome. My late game, I played it at 1500. I played at 1500 rating, and my actual rating is 770. But my end game was an accuracy of 96.5%, and it was a damn long end game. I slaughtered that end game. And I guess that's why I won, because my mid game was kind of So that was cool. But the problem is when I end my stream 4 hours later than I normally do, which I have been doing for like the last 2 weeks because I got addicted to Noita and chess, I still have as much work as I normally have to do after stream. And so it took me like 3 hours just to get through my DMs yesterday. and to manage all the questions and everything that all the people are asking me for, and give people all the things they need to, and organize files in the way that need to be organized for all the people. I didn't even get to editing. It took 3 hours. And so I normally end work at 8 when Aitana's here, but because she's not here, I'm like, well, I just go a few more hours. And so I'm going to bed at like 11, midnight, and still or midnight. It still takes me the same amount of time to get to sleep. Like, it takes me a while to cool down, to stop thinking and stuff. And so I might be getting to bed at 2 a.m., you know? And so I'm waking up later, and because I'm waking up later, I have less energy. And when I have less energy, I don't like to start new series or do very important individual projects, because if I have low energy, I might not speak as well. I might stumble in my speech, I might not be as interesting, might not be as engaged. And the first episode of a series is key to keep people hooked in for the whole thing. And if it's an individual special thing, like, I'll ruin it by not being engaged. And I've done that before in the past. And so whenever that happens, whenever I don't sleep as well as I should, I just do my consistent content, like just some GT Online stuff or some chaos or whatever, because it's less important these days. What's interesting though, you accidentally sent a DM to Knees instead of me last night, and like hella late, yes. I sent it to him at like 2 in the morning when I realized something, and I was like, okay, well, and I sent it to him instead of you because that shows how tired I was. What's funny though, is I'm talking normal. Look at this. I'm like fluent in my speech. There was like weeks there where I was just stumbling over my words and stuff. And I was missing syllables and slurring. And I don't know what the fuck that was. What happened there? I'm getting less sleep, and for some reason I'm able to speak again. It was so frustrating. My timing of my jokes in my career content was just awful. I'd be like about to make the perfect joke, and then I would just like slip on one of the words and be like, oh, fuck. I still do stutter over words occasionally, but I mean, like, rather than saying broom, I would say bloom or something like that. Like I would words that sound very similar, and I would enunciate them poorly, and they would slow, you know. One thing I saw yesterday was a clip from the CEO of Instagram or someone high up at Instagram or something. Apparently this guy all the time does like just candid reels from his own personal Instagram, where he's like, hey guys, so here at Instagram, we like that you guys like X, Y, and Z, so we're doing A, B, and C. And so he just explains, no animations, no graphics, whatever, just explains what's going on and what their thought process is and stuff like that. And one thing they did yesterday was like, hey, creators and aggregators, we're making some changes here at Instagram. And I was like, starting off the short, being like creators and aggregators. I'm like, oh, not many people talk about aggregators. Like, they just talk about creators as if the people who aggregate creators' content, either just through direct reposting or reactions, are themselves creators, which of course they're not. Because obviously no creator could have the kind of output that these platforms do, because they just repost, 10 creators videos a day or whatever. And he says, we are going to be making changes so that aggregators won't be recommended except to their followers. Like, you'll be able to check if you've been labeled an aggregator, and you can appeal if you don't think we're correct. But if the majority of your content that you post each month is just stuff made from other people, we're gonna stop recommending you. And they said, if you want to actually repost someone else's content, just use the reposting feature, which directly links back to the person who posted it, the original creator. And I was like, you beauty, which is cool. Like, I think it's just a good thing in a world where, as I said many years ago, stealing content is a more efficient way of getting content than making it. Because if you want a video that costs 10 grand, takes 10 people a month to make, you can either spend 10 grand with those 10 people for a month, or you can just download it for the person who spent 10 grand with 10 people for a month and then repost it to your YouTube channel, either directly or with a reaction. And that's obviously not fair and ain't bad for the system as a whole. And as well with AI as well, competing as well, it's just the space for actual creativity continues to decline, because there needs to be creators who are successful, or these aggregators, these parasites don't have anything to post anyway. And the quality of the content continues to go down as more and more of the platform and the revenue generated from it doesn't go to creators. It goes to these aggregators, because they don't have either the skills, the people, the know-how, or whatever, right, to make this content. So giving them money is completely pointless in terms of creating higher quality content. So I was happy to see it, but I'd be surprised if they dinged like reaction channels for this. In large part, like, people have asked why. Clearly I'm so confident that people at these companies understand the problems that reactions have. But at the end of the day, a lot of reaction channels are not what you might call the worst offenders, right? Because you've got some channels that are uploading like, 10 videos a day. Then you've got some reaction channels that are uploading like 1 video a day, right? And within a particular niche or something. That's still garbage and ruins that niche. But it's not like the overwhelming deluge of content that you can get from just raw re-uploading channels or AI slop channels, for example, right? And there is clearly, even to me, on the spectrum of reaction content or things you can call reaction content that I consider acceptable. So then they're probably never going to ding this because where that line sits is so nebulous. But not everyone's going to agree, right? So they're going to hit the things that 99% of people are going to be like, yeah, what the fuck are they doing? Like, they're not even giving credit, so they clearly should go. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll also ding the aggregation in the form of reactions as well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Instagram doesn't pay me any money, and they don't pay basically anyone any money. I believe they have some new program specifically in the US that pays for posts and carousel plays or something. Not reels. I don't know. It's very confusing. I don't particularly like platforms that don't pay people money for their content. Because at the end of the day, like Instagram is an aggregator of content itself. And while it is giving credit, it's not giving money. And the money is the more important than the credit. You can't buy goods and services with credit, Facebook ad rev sucks more than I thought. Oh, have you looked at that, have you? So I'm making like, $10 a day. I don't know if this is US. Might be Australian, so even worse. But like, I don't think my views are all that amazing. Yeah, so this is views, but I don't think it's like, played or displayed. So if you had, I guess that's in the last, how long is this? This is the last, almost a month. If you compare that to, it depends how they're counting views, because Facebook can often be very shit with counting views. So I've told you about on YouTube how there's 2 different analytics for shorts views, where one is views and the other is engaged views. Engaged views used to be just views, but then they changed it so the number can look bigger. This is just whenever something is shown to a person. Like they can watch it for 0.1 seconds and that counts as a view. And that's probably what this is for Facebook as well. So, I'm getting 10 times less views. But even if the money there was USD, I'd still be getting paid like 1/10. So Facebook would be paying me 1/10 the amount of what YouTube pays me for the same amount of views. Yeah, so engaged views are like people watch it for longer than 3 seconds or something, I think. But I get paid based off engaged views. And those are the ones that matter. And I roughly need between 40 and 50 million engaged views a month to break even on the amount that I'm paying for the shorts to be made. But that doesn't include, any potential views I get from my shorts that go to my long form content, which seems it doesn't seem to be many. Some do. Some find my content in general because they recognize me from shorts. It also doesn't include any brand recognition I get from my other platforms that the content goes to.
Some shorts go hella viral.
Some shorts go hella viral, and as they're focused on me, I am like, people refer to me as the GTA shorts guy. There is value in that. And so long as the shorts are not costing me a significant amount of money, I'm fine with it just breaking even, and I focus on things that actually generate a lot of revenue, which is my long form videos, right? Glow here says long form content is practically dead on Facebook since they merged short form and long form into the same thing. I did hear that, yeah. So like you're scrolling and there's the long form video in the reels section or whatever. I think you can still turn and see it like this, but there's no individual place you can just watch videos like you can on YouTube. And like Facebook used to have Facebook Gaming, which was a dedicated section for live streaming. They've also gotten rid of that as well. It seems like they've chucked away everything and are just focusing on the Reels content, which is interesting. I'm going to keep trying to upload my long form videos onto Facebook now that I've gotten monetization there, but we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure. At the end of the day, Facebook is not particularly important to me. I'm just tinkering with it, right? Facebook Gaming was abysmal dog shit. Yes, Facebook Gaming was abysmal dog shit, but abysmal dog shit is better than nothing. Yeah, and of course, when people go to watch short form content on Facebook, they aren't looking for a long form video, and they weren't expected either. So it has to be a very engaging video for people to bother watching it day in, day grade. Like I see, like the retention will be like a minute tops kind of thing on average. Where the average retention on my videos on YouTube is, the average amount of time a person watches one of my long form videos is 21 minutes. It's a week a month, but yeah, 21 minutes. Which is actually why I punch above my weights, monetarily speaking. Like you could hypothetically see a channel, right, that gets 20 million views a month, right? But they might be making videos, let's say they get 20 million long form video views, right? Ignore shorts. If their average watch time is like 2 minutes, or if it's say it's just 2 minutes, I might be making 5 to 10 times the amount of money that they make on their videos. So like, I wouldn't say it's easier to, well, is it? Maybe it is easier to get more individual views on videos if you have a lot of shorter videos. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're making more money, you know. I had McDonald's today and a strawberry thick shake. McDonald's kind of sucks. You remember when you were a kid and like McDonald's just tasted amazing? On Pizza Hut, oh my God, Pizza Hut when I was a kid was the greatest thing that ever been conceived of. It was just, oh, now it's all garbage. It didn't cost me $702, but I'm looking at it like, you disgust me. How dare you disappoint me this way? Where's the pizzazz? Big Mac is overrated. I do think it's one of the lesser burgers now on their menu. Am I enjoying the products? I am not enjoying this product. To be fair, I did eat a bunch of other stuff before this, and that might be why I'm less inclined to continue eating this. It tastes okay, but a part of the problem is when it's delivered by Uber Eats, it doesn't matter if it's like a 15 minutes that it's sitting somewhere and then it gets delivered. Fast food doesn't keep well. Yet McDonald's fries are only good for 5 minutes. McDonald's fries are pretty good if you eat them immediately. The second they're like 10 minutes, it's like, whoa. They're like, it's kind of soggy, you know? Do they do veggie burgers at McDonald's in Australia? I don't think so anymore. I think they did at one point. McDonald's nuggets are good. When I was a kid, I would always get a cheeseburger Happy Meal and my sister would get a nuggets Happy Meal because a cheeseburger to me was obviously better than 6 nuggets. But the nuggets, I mean, they were pretty good. So I would give my sister like the puppy dog eyes, like, can I have 1 nugget, please? She'd very rarely give me one though. Because I mean, it's only 6 nuggets, right? But sometimes. Of course, there was a point where she decided that she didn't like pickles. And so if in the very times she did get a burger, she would give me the pickles. And I was just like, yes, fuck yeah, pickles, let's go. So to this day, love pickles. In Poland, they're only giving 4 nuggets in a Happy Meal. Wow, you guys getting screwed. There might be bigger nuggets though. You never know. KFC still to this day is the best when it comes to fast food. We've talked about this before. KFC has the best highs and the worst lows. You can get some fucking rank KFC. And it has like chewy bits in it. Think about it. Then you get some really gross chicken. But that's rare. Most of the time, like we're talking like 90% of the time, KFC is spot on. It's really good. But that 10% is just so like, oh, do I want to risk that today? And yeah, KFC, it definitely depends on what country you're in. In general, in Australia, every fast food place is good. Like my complaints about McDonald's before, in relation to McDonald's of the past, and because I'm getting it delivered. Like if you go to a fast food place, order food, it's generally pretty good. Won't compare to actually really good food, but restaurant or whatever, but you know. Hi! Getting to the end of a Viper Rambles episode proves that you like me and my work far more than the average person. Given that, it's possible that you might find value in becoming a YouTube member. Members get early access to all my videos, including Rambles, as well as access to my growing library of re-uploaded deleted videos, 5% off my merch, and the ability to leave comments and feedback before public release, which is incredibly helpful for me and my team. You also get a cute badge next to your name, so I can easily identify you in my comment section and live stream chats, and you can also use all my cute emotes everywhere on the channel. Lastly, after 3 months of being a member, you can submit on my Discord to join my GTA Online crew. Thanks for the consideration, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you enjoy future ones as well.